I don't know how to transition when people transition in their life. Like, I don't know how to maybe support them the best that they need in that season of their life. And I've probably been in this season of my life for a long time. So then those people who are changing, you're like, I don't know what to do here. Like, how do I support them? Do I call them? Do they need space? Now they're married. Am I calling them as often? Now they have a kid. Am I visiting that like that? Like, what are their, what do they need in this time? And I think it's a conversation that needs to be had on both ends. But sometimes it kind of gets lost because if one doesn't communicate, you just think and you have an assumption like, they need space. They have a new kid. They just got married.
But you know what the crazy thing is? It's the opposite.
No, yeah.
Because a lot of my, well, I don't have a lot, but some of my married friends, it's like they're yearning for the friendship. Welcome back to the Juxtaposition, yo. I'm your host, yo. Nana with the most, yo. Alongside my two lovely co-hosts, yo.
What's going on, man? You did this last time.
What's your name, yo?
What's my name? What's the
dealio?
My name's Janet.
And I'm Bernice.
People be calling me Jeanette at work. I told the client, I said, Janet with a T, a singular
Is that
T.
actually named though? Janet?
Yes. I have a client.
Jeanette.
Oh my gosh, that's too much information. But
Yeah, let's not expose ourselves.
yeah.
Jeanette.
Jeanette and Janet. They're two very different names, guys.
Man.
Two very different names. One with two T's, one with one T. Just be thinking Janet Jackson. That's how I always introduce myself if people don't know it. Like, I don't know why you get confused. Janet's so easy to say. Anyways, guys.
Maybe Jeanette is more popular. It's certain.
I guess so. That's true.
Speaking to the mic, please.
Speaking to the mic.
All right, how we doing?
I'm good.
I'm great.
So instead of blessing and blunder today, I have a question. Let's just mix it up a little bit. If you could ask God one question, what would it be?
Why are you taking so long?
Oof. I would say, why am I so emotional? Why do we have so many emotions?
So you're emotional on the inside? Do you cry? When's the last time you cried?
I don't know. I don't cry. I cry on the inside. I cry on the inside.
So you're like me.
Yeah. But if I really need to cry, I'll cry. If the music is leading it and I'm praying, actually, you know what? I cried yesterday.
Wow, good job.
I cried yesterday. But that was in worship. That was in worship and in prayer. And that was it. But usually I'm crying in the inside because there's so many emotions. Like, so many. And not just the clear ones, guys. Sometimes it's just like, fear, happiness. There's like those in-between emotions that you don't really know that you're feeling. And, there's a name for it.
Yeah, so we thank God for your emotions. Mine would be, God, like, what can I do to provide for myself and my family? So I'm hoping his response will be packed with more responses. And it's more so like financially.
But then you said...
Are you okay?
I'm burping.
Okay.
You said, what can I do? But it's not what can you do.
No, okay. Faith without works is dead, Jesus. God.
Yes.
Jesus. So what can I do? What action can I do to provide better for my family? Then he would say, son, you should do this and do that and do this. And I'd be like, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. These couple things or these three things or
yeah.
that type of thing.
Facts.
All right. I mean, that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
so
I hope you guys are feeling good because I'm feeling great. I don't know. I love my friends. Sister friend.
Janet's your friend?
Sister friend.
mean, oh my God, what's going on with me? Guys, I called Janet Bernice and Bernice Janet. What is going on? Sorry, Bernice is your friend?
Bernice is my friend. You know what? Guys, your sisters can be your friends. And this is just a different dynamic. You have to work at being friends. You can be sisters biologically, but you have to work at being friends. It's an intentionality behind it. And, as we're speaking about friendship, guys.
Not the
F word.
Friends.
No, it's like, that was nice. Segue.
I know. I'm trying. Because Bernice is usually
nice.
good at those things. As we're talking about friendship, so today our topic is meaningful Christian friendships. Sorry, guys, that's not the title.
No,
That's
it's
not
Christian friendships and adulthood. Why is it so hard?
close.
Why is it so hard to build
You're
real
close.
community.
It's not. You're not far.
Damn, son. You're
not
kind of
far
close, though.
You're close.
I was getting there. It was in, like, my
I said,
sentence.
did I miss? No, it's Christian friendships and adulthood, which we're all in.
Thank you.
And why is it so hard to build community?
Yeah, that's why you need Christian friendship to help you along the way
Yes.
sometimes. You know, just how he lended a
Yes.
hand of help
Yes.
for my...
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, guys, so adult friendships. How do we feel about how they're going in our current season of life right now?
Sheesh.
Do we have
That's the
them?
topic. Sheesh. Honestly, for me, adult friendships right now in my life, I have them. But to make time for people is the thing. Because everybody's in different seasons. One's married. One's trying to be a doctor. One's trying to do this. It's hard to fully, like, you know, the way I think about friendships, and it's probably because of your fault, you guys' fault. I think about friends like I talk to you every day. Like, you know, it's not going to look like that. Sometimes we got to schedule things in a month time to meet up and stuff like that. But I have my group, my community is great, but I think I just got to keep watering the plants. And to keep watering the plants, it takes two to tango to water the plants.
Facts.
You know, you need the soil and you need the water. So which one are you gonna be? So it's great, but sometimes I get scared that it's just gonna stay stagnant. Like, how can we get better? Are we challenging each other? Are we doing this? Are we doing that? And I just don't want to be friends with someone because of loyalty, you know, or the amount of years that we've known each other. I want to actually be your friend because I genuinely want to be your friend and we add value to each other. So, yeah, that's my community right now. Shout out to the mandem and the geldem, kind of.
The few that you have.
Yeah.
How are adult friendships in my life? Honestly,
Be real.
it's a struggle. It's a very struggle. I think it's doing well in certain areas for the ones who have always been, I guess, in my life. Your phone.
Yeah.
Who've always been in my life consistently for the last maybe decade or so. Those ones are easier because one, commonality, and two, we've kind of built from, you know, the ground up. But now trying to find new ones or just trying to find, I think the difficulty for me is finding like female friendships, and I think female friendships are just different because like those people are going to journey through life with you, and like there's just more intimate conversations that are to be had with females and certain advice and certain things that are going to go on in our life as we go in different seasons of our life. And so those are that's an area where I desire to have more friendships in and have ones that are intentional. It doesn't have to be a big group, but that's something I'm struggling with. But the ones that are now, I'm trying to be intentional by texting them. I'm not really good at friendships. I feel like I'm not great at friendships, but I'm trying. I'm trying to do better in communicating, and I know that I need to just be more intentional in terms of communicating. And really, it doesn't have to be every day, because some of the people that I'm messaging, they're not an everyday people, unless you like, of course, you eventually build that, you know, tolerance for one another. But like sometimes it's just like at least once a month or twice a month. Or,
Sometimes I don't want every day.
Yeah. But the depth of it,
Yeah,
the depth
yeah.
of the friendship is what I'm looking for. Maybe not how many times you talk to a person, but how involved are they in your lives and how do they speak into you is what I'm looking for friendships. Yeah.
I don't know. I think for me, it's just struggle with friendship. The thing is, I know people, but I don't think I have like in-depth relationships with people in terms of at least female relationships. That I find like I struggle with that. Even now, just I'm thinking about like my circle and who's around and what kind of relationships I have with individuals, and they're not all in depth. Obviously, you have conversations where you can have those in-depth conversations, but most of them are not
Intimate.
Yeah, they're not that deep. I think I have maybe one or two that I can say like they're in depth. But I mean, you don't have to have a boatload of friends, but I think you obviously want a handful of friends that they can all individually impact you and kind of help you and shape you. And but yeah, I think in my current season, I think that's the one thing that I struggle with is just having a group of people that I can go to and talk to and just feel safe enough to just share and be vulnerable and vice versa. So yeah, I think that right now that's the struggle, is being able to, and it's not like it's their fault or whoever. It's kind of, it goes both ways, because you have to also give, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be intentional about sharing so that you can also too, like they can feel safe enough to share what they're going through. And yeah, I think that's the hardest part for me, is being vulnerable. Yeah.
So I've been friends with these guys for a long time. So I've been in the backseat.
How many years?
7?
Are you sure?
8. 8, right?
I think it's
I forgot.
going on 8.
8,
But yeah,
something like that. So yeah, I've been friends with them for like a couple of times for a couple of years.
Oh my.
And I know that's just my brain just malfunctioning. And it's women, you guys have it's different. Because the same way you guys feel, my sisters be venting to me and saying the same things. And I'm like, bro, this is not fun for you guys. Like, my sister would be like, Nana, like, I just feel like my friends don't reach out to me, or maybe just one reaches out to me. And it's like, what kind of community is being built in this? I would just say city. I don't know why. I can't be in the world. But like, is there any
Generation?
real friendships or anything like that? And when I was thinking about this topic, I had one point, okay? Or I had a couple points. But one point I want to bring up is that I think some people lie. Let me go closer.
Expand.
I think some people lie in terms of, they lie about where they're at in life. And when they're trying to maybe get to a certain point where they're trying to journey in life, they're not really truthful. And they kind of put like extra sauce on it. So it's like if someone's trying to come to you, it's like, how are you doing? What are you struggling with? I'm good. Everything is blessed. Like, okay, so then that door to open, to get closer, it doesn't open because you're closed off and you're not wanting to talk about it per se. So I think we can lie and not be truthful of where we're at in life, and just things don't move. It just stays in one place. And that's not fair. It should be. And there's too many women in my life that don't have friends. Let's just be honest. Y'all don't have friends.
I mean, I wouldn't say we don't have friends. I think it's choosing the right ones is what the issue is. I think we have expectations of what friendship should be like and what a friend should be like, and then when you don't receive that, or they don't meet that standard that you have, it's like, oh, this person can't be my friend, or they're not a good friend.
Yeah.
I think it's expectations that are high, and I think I was reading something about how choosing friends, and the reality is like there's a standard of worldly friends. You know, the one that will go out with you, spend your money, go out and do all these things.
Money.
And it's true, they'll spend your money. They'll come if you invite them, right? But you're paying. They go shopping, all that stuff in terms of female relationships, and they'll gossip with you and they'll do all these things. But when it comes to in-depth conversations, they're not going to have that. There's going to be very, very, very surface level, or they'll push you towards something that you shouldn't be doing because they themselves don't even know what they're doing. So they'll just, based on their own experience, they'll just go in that direction. But I think when it comes to biblical friendships, it's like, what are the standards that the Bible say is a good friend, right? And friends are not always going to be on your side in terms of they're not going to agree with you all. That you don't need a yes man or woman. They're not always going to agree with you, and like they need to challenge you. Like how do they push you? Are you looking for friends that will challenge you, or are you just looking for friends that will just agree with everything that you're doing or everything that you're saying? And if that's the case, then you're always going to be like, oh, they don't meet my standard. Because the moment that they say no, it's like, oh, this person's against me, or they're my enemy, or they're just jealous of me, or they're envious of me, and then you have a fallout. Or we just, as women, we don't like to have that conversation when there is a falling out. You know, we're just petty enough to be like, oh, that it is what it is. Next one. So I think it's not we don't have friends. I think it's the lens and how we're looking for those friends is kind of skewed.
And I think everyone has to go through that phase of I'm going through a difficult season where I'm having a argument with someone. If you don't go through that phase of I can argue and do healthy conflict, then your friendship has to be tested in that way. There's too many friendships I've seen where they go through something and then they just cut it. Like it's just done. But it's like, did you really like love the person? Or was it just surface level? You really see the position where you at in a friendship after an argument.
Yeah.
How many arguments we've been in?
Yes.
You know, some people are scared of the arguments because it's like,
am I gonna lose them? What are they gonna think of me? Maybe they even might share my business to other people and, you know, make my image seem bad, you know, destroy my image. And like the inability to forgive and move past like conflict is a burden for a lot of friendships that are happening now, because it's like, even in the word it says, bear with one another and forgive one another. Even if any of you have grievances against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you in Colossians 3:13. It's like, in order to move on and have a healthy relationship, we need to forgive in order to strengthen those relationships and in order to connect with one another. It's like there's so many friendships in the Bible that show, just even Lazarus and Jesus and Naomi and Ruth, like all these friendships gone through some type of challenge with one another and are able to overcome it and stuff like that. So I feel like, the inability to forgive, and forgiveness in itself is difficult as an individual. So imagine like trying to do that with someone else. It's very difficult, and it's very hard.
And also like, I feel like in order to get close to someone, I think this is the phase where people struggle with. In order to get close to someone, you have to be transparent. If you're not transparent, nothing will grow. That's how you feel kind of close with someone. Just think about just life like that. And what people get scared of is once you're transparent with them, that information you now share with them, it's a now vulnerable state. You're now in a vulnerable state because I'm now transparent with you. Now I share the things I'm sharing with you, and it's like, damn, I just told this person like I have like crazy thoughts. Now I feel at a vulnerable space because now this person looks at me like, oh wow, they see me for who I am. So once you get to that state, sometimes depending on who it is, you're now gonna see if you're gonna be able to feel safe with this person, because what tends to happen is that information can be thrown back at you.
It's true.
And it can be used against you. Oh, this girl or this guy, like, he did this, or he's not that serious, or talking behind the person's back, the person's not that serious. So it's like, you have to go through that phase. And it's important to disclose what you're going to share with that person, because you have to kind of test the waters and see, like, okay, how transparent? Okay, I'm going to share this person. I'm going to share this thing with this person. How they're going to handle it, what they're going to show me, what are they going to say to me, how they're going to speak life into me. Let's see. And that's the phases where people kind of struggle with, because it's like you have to ask yourself this question: do I trust this person? And if I trust this person, okay, how can we grow from this? How can we move on from this and all that stuff? So the transparency to vulnerability is very important, because if you're not transparent, nothing will grow. Just think about it. I have known someone for 5 years, and the conversations went nowhere. And I met someone 2 times, and the conversations were super deep. And then the next time I seen them, it was just amazing. So if you want to grow a friendship, I believe transparency is the right way to accelerate, to make it go faster. I promise you.
Yeah. I think for that, though, I don't know if people know how to do friendships well, because a lot of the times, like in people's friendship, people get hurt, and then they use that lens or that perspective going into another relationship, and that they don't share as much, or they're not untransparent enough. So like those relationships don't end up accelerating, they don't end up growing, because they're stagnant. They just have this perspective that everyone out there is out to get them, or like, you know, spread their business. And, you know, when you don't resolve that hurt within yourself, there's no moving forward, or there's no trust or connection with that next person who you're with or trying to befriend too. So that's like the difficult part. But I guess, like, what do you guys think is like or what are other challenges in maintaining friendships in adulthood currently in your lives?
Good question.
I mean, I think with friendships, like there are gonna be different seasons in terms of like not every friendship is going to be a lifetime friendship. You know,
That's
like,
hard to fathom sometimes.
It is.
Because if we're doing nice, we're having a nice season. Oh yeah, we're gonna be with each other for life. But it's like that.
yeah, it might change because somebody might move or their seasons
man.
change
Shout out
or
to the
like
people
things
them.
happen and like, you know, they move forward and doesn't mean you can't connect with them, but it's not going to be the same.
Proximity matters.
Yeah, definitely. It's not going to be the same as it was when you guys were in the same space over like a period of time, right? And I think understanding that as an adult is important because like when you're younger, your friends are in school, so you see them every single day. So it's so
Every
easy to
day.
be like, oh, that's my best friend, or that, yeah, you get to know them so well,
That's
even in
my
high
best
school
friend.
and even university or college. Very easy until the day that you graduate and you guys go apart. It's like, okay, now who's going to be the one connecting us together, right? And I think it's just understanding that there's seasons and people come into your life for a season. Some may stay for the rest of your life because those are the ones that God has called them to be in your life forever. And then, oh gosh, excuse me, my voice just cracked. But other times, it's people are just placed in seasons. For example, like jobs. There's going to be people in your career that you're going to be in the same vicinity for like a couple of years, and then you move forward, or they move forward, and so that friendship kind of will fade away because they moved on to something else. So
Yeah.
I think maintaining relationships, or the challenge is just understanding that seasons will change and people are going to be moving around, and that you don't have to think because they either left or something happened because it just dissolved naturally doesn't mean that the friendship was never a good thing in your life. Right? It wasn't like, oh, it wasn't never meant to be.
Yeah.
No, it was just a season for them to be in and teach you about yourself and vice versa, learn about them too. So I think, yeah, that aspect is important to know.
I haven't accepted that phase because I still feel guilty on not reaching out to certain people to this day. And when I see the person, it's like we both say it like, damn, we need to do better. Because it's like there's so much more that can be
Can come
birthed
from it.
from it. So I'm not accepting that yet. But I know it's true. It is true but I'm like, okay, I abruptly left the church and got a new job. Okay, so that means everyone else can't I still can't reach out to people, or they can't reach out to me? No way, Jose. You know? So I haven't got to that phase yet. But I know there is I can do better. But them 24 hours go by so fast, man.
They do, but
holy smokes. Excuse
you
my
just gotta
it goes by so
plug it in
fast.
somewhere. Yeah.
And I don't think conversations have to be like super long. I think a check-in once a week or even every other week. It's just kind of, I guess maybe you can always start with just kind of putting it into a calendar or whatever, just to schedule it,
No.
because sometimes you need to
But
schedule
I don't do
things.
small talk. Like
You know?
yesterday, I called you just to check in. I said
Yeah.
10 minutes. What is it, 15?
But then that's okay.
20?
At least you think of it like it's gonna be 10 to 20 minutes, and then it may extend, but that's okay. And sometimes you need to have the structured time because you have other things to do. But I think at the main thing of it is that it's the intentionality. Like a lot of people lack the intentionality. As you said, people move away, they change their seasons, and but like both at the same time, like lack of intentionality where it's like they don't take active steps to build community in terms of like maybe we're going out every Saturday or we're going out once a month. Like at least for me, honestly, I'm not the one to reach out to people, and it's something I need to work on. But like
She's been saying that for 5 years.
yes, I have. But at least I think I am doing better.
You are doing better.
Thank you. But like even the girls I went to with at school in college, like I'm not someone of us, as I said, who reaches out. But this girl, I thought the friendship was dead and gone. To be honest, I was like, okay,
Well, it's only dead because you never reached out.
I know. And then I was like, oh, well, you know, it's fine, you know, we'll just naturally just disintegrate.
away.
But no, one girl in this relationship, she will not let it break, which
That's
is nice.
amazing.
Like, and the way we just keep it intentional is where we're like, okay, everyone has a birthday and I live the furthest. So when there's birthdays, I come down, we come together. Or when there's a season where you're kind of like reaching an end of something, that's when we're like, okay, we're going to catch up. We're going to, what's new, you know, what's new in your life. And I really like that. And I know that I need to work on it, and I'm trying to. And I actually, I'm trying, because even today, shout out to Shield. I texted Shield. I texted Mathula today, and they reached back out to me. And I just was like, when I think about it, just reach out to them and see how they're doing. So I'm doing better.
No,
you know,
better.
The part that is like you could reach out, but then they reach back out. They reach back to you, and then it's like you don't respond until like 20, 48 hours.
I know.
I mean, that's something I do. I'm like, I didn't expect you to put this much into the conversation.
Or like a whole paragraph. You're like, I just
well,
wanted
I guess
to say
that's
good.
why you do voice notes. It's easier that way.
That is
yeah,
true.
me and my friends, we be like, oh, it's either we're gonna check up or voice note me 2 minutes. Give me an update of your life. And like, that works.
And that's just a different way of connecting with the people. And then I think I just wanted to go back and touch base with like the different stages of life. I think, at least for me, like I don't know how to transition when people transition in their life. Like I don't know how to maybe support them the best that they need in that season of their life. And I've probably been in this season of my life for a long time. So then those people who are changing, you're like, I don't know what to do here. Like, how do I support them? Do I call them? Do they need space? Now they're married. Am I calling them as often? Now they have a kid. Am I visiting that like that? Like, what are their, you know, what do they need in this time? And I think it's a conversation that needs to be had on both ends. But sometimes it kind of gets lost, because if one doesn't communicate, you just think and you have an assumption like, they need space. You know, they have a new kid. They just got married.
But you know what the crazy thing is? It's the opposite.
No, yeah.
Because a lot of my,
well,
I don't have a lot, but some of my married friends, it's like they're yearning for the friendship.
Yeah.
To the point where their wife is like, yo, reach out to them, like do that. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's interesting. So it's like the way we think is probably the opposite of what they're thinking. Because you don't want to just be cooped up with your husband or wife the whole time and not have your own community. Yeah, that will probably last a month or two, but like you need other people to guide through. In life, we need each other. We need, community is so important. We need each other. And for real, I'm saying that as a PSA. Because we're so into our bubble, want to make the money, we want to do this, want to do that, but we need each other to lean on each other, to give each other advice, to pray for each other, all of that.
Yeah.
It's so real. And I'm saying that to myself because some people I gotta, you know?
Yeah.
But it's true, because some people just don't have anybody, and you may need to be the person to reach out to them, to give them a words of encouragement and to love on them. Right? So reach out to that person and like set up something. Like a person like my cousin Andrew, I know you're listening. We play ball with each other. But I know I can do better.
Yeah.
I honestly can do better, like with certain people and stuff like that. And just because I have sisters and they're my sisters, I talk to them. I can go out with them and like talk.
Build better. Yeah. That's why, as I said, we said in the beginning, Bernice is my friend. We actually have to do stuff
That's rare
to be the friend. Not just because we see each other in our house, but there's more than that. Of being a friend, checking in, actually asking them about like what's going on in their life, because they don't have to share anything with you. They don't want to.
There's
so
relationships that are like that. They don't.
Yeah, there be sibling relationships.
They're sisters, but they're
just sisters,
or even brothers and sisters. They don't talk about things.
Nothing.
Then
shut down the whole wall of China.
It's
the wall of China's up.
It's true. And then they be like, oh, they're siblings. I'm like, they don't have to communicate.
Yeah, just because your blood don't mean nothing at all.
So the friendship is the intentionality about like actually asking, and
community is important.
It is. And I want to go into like accountability. How do you, I don't know how I'm going to word this question, but do you guys give that accountability to others, like for them to be, you to be the accountability partner for them, and then vice versa? Like, how does accountability work in your friendship? Do you need it? Do you provide it? Where are you at with that?
One of the greatest compliments I get is that, yo, Nana, you're the only one that complimenting. You're the only one that holds me accountable in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. But it's like, sometimes you think it's not as powerful to say it, but it is powerful to say it. Simple stuff like, did you like read your word today? Did you go to the gym? Like, or checking them on a certain like behavior that they're doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes like we need it. We need it. And never feel too high above everything to not feel like you have to get checked. Because that's me. I feel like I'm too high above everything. I know everything. I'm the one that be giving the advice to people. So you holding me accountable. It's like, I already know that. But it's like, no, you need to be able to be held accountable, and you do the same vice versa. Because we can't, our peripheral is like blinded sometimes.
Yeah.
And we need that person to see us. Like, Janet, you tell Bernice, like, yo, this is what
You got
you're
something
doing.
in your eye.
Yes.
Take it
You got
out.
that log. You
Yeah,
know,
take
that
it
log
out.
in your eye, you need to take it out. Like, you need that friend to, because so sometimes we can feel so high and on our high horse and not get that accountability. And then what do you see? Phew!
I think oftentimes too, some reasons why friendships break up is because they don't want somebody to keep them accountable. So then when we call somebody else, just like, no, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
No.
Get out of here.
Yeah, move. And so you lose that person that's actually trying to help you in your life, and instead you go do foolishness, and then you look back at your life like, you see that time that the person told me not to do this thing, I should have just listened. And so I think oftentimes too why relationships don't, or friendships don't last that long, is because the pride in each person is just, I don't want to listen to anybody anymore.
Yeah.
I know what's best for me. I'm going to do me. It's very self-centered, right? And friendships are, I believe it's sacrificial. Like, it's just like another relationship. It's just like another, just like you're married, but just no covenant. Like, you know what I mean? And crazy thing is, because we're all spiritual beings, so at the end of the day, like, you're spiritually tied too, not in any sexual kind of way, but you're still spiritually tied when it comes to friendship. So I believe, like, every person that comes in your life is for a reason, even the good and the bad person that comes into your life. But I think it's just like understanding, where was I going? Whoa.
Understanding something.
Yes, just being able to recognize that when it comes to friendship, there has to be a sense of humility in there. You can't just go in this thinking you're the better person and you're there to correct this person. You also have to remember that they're adding value to you. And if they're not, then that's not a friend you should have around. Or they're just in a position that they're not supposed to be called a friend. Because like Pastor Darius has this book called Relational Intelligence. And that book just really explains the different kind of levels of friendships or relationships that can happen in your life. So there's like acquaintances, there's I think it was something with career,
kind of like mentorship,
and then there's like friendship. And you have to understand where people lie in your life, and then that way you can put your in the right, and you have expectations, but you can put your what is the word that you
can kind of put your eggs in certain baskets.
Yes, exactly. And you don't have to have this high expectation of somebody who just recently met and expect them to call you every single day or check in with you every single week. That's probably not going to happen.
I want to add this. It's important that we hold space for people to hold us accountable. There's a feeling where, I can come to Bernice and she's just going to be humble and not talk. I have space to say something. But when you have the walls of China up and you're very like, no one's going to want to say anything.
Yeah.
So the person that's receiving it, you have to humble yourself and hold space and be like, okay, what do you want to say? Right? And that's humility as well. So
that's the big one, to be honest.
That's the one of the hardest things, to be able to sit down there and hear
people who are like, so what are you gonna say? So what are you doing now? So what happened now?
What did you do now? And it's also
like a scolding.
It's also just asking your question. Yourself this question is like, what kind of friend do you want to be? And if you're coming from the biblical aspect, it's like, okay, so how do you represent Jesus in your friendship? How do you show love in your friendship? If that's the number one thing and that's the number one goal, is like, people will know you by the way that you love one another, right? And so if you're not able to just sit down and hear a friend out as they're explaining their mess or, what's going on in their life, and you're not able to just sit down and just receive it and then, just be there for them and have an understanding, you have to go back and revisit that. Because then you have you can't expect people to be doing the same for you if you're not doing it for them, right? It's important to recognize that part too. So as you're expecting people to either check in or call or like be that listening ear, you also too have to do that work of checking in, calling, and being that listening ear. So friendship, it's not give and take, it's not transactional, but it's sacrificial, I would say.
It's just like the Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one another sharpens another, highlighting how friends can encourage and motivate each other.
Yeah. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Character we need as friends. Bruh. Right there is
Patience. That's the
Patience.
one a lot of people.
That's what sticks with you, the patience one.
You have
Oh,
to have
yeah.
a lot of patience.
Oh,
with
yeah.
people.
I think gentleness is important.
Yes.
Because you could.
Gentleness.
That
I
is
think
true.
it both goes hand in hand, but I think gentleness is important because our tone is important.
And
We
kindness.
speak like
kindness.
a knife. Yes, how we speak to each
Kindness.
other is important. Yeah.
Yeah, speak
We're
with
all
one another in
gentle.
love.
We're all we just want to be,
I know,
let's
but
love each other as friends.
I think at least the last one for me is how like conflict of building friendships is like the busyness of life, and like sometimes wanting to just be the individual and just run and rip and just have my blinders on and be like, oh, I don't need people. I just need to do whatever I need to do. And sometimes, like, I don't know, our parents could be like that. Sorry, that's a little jab, but like
It's
you
true
know,
though, but you think about it when you get older, you look back at your life like, oh, I wish
Yeah.
I held on to this friend a little bit more and actually was intentional about building that relationship, because you get older, you get lonelier, guys.
Yes.
People die. Like, people move away,
Yeah.
and they're older or they're sick and they're not able to do as much as you want to. Or so I just, as you're aging, it's important to make sure you hold tight to the ones that you have, but also to be intentional about growing in new friendships too. Like, it's crazy because sometimes you just think, okay, in my 20s, I have these 3-4 people and that's it for the rest of my life. It's like, no, be open to building new friendships.
Yeah.
Because those are the people too that will carry you later on in your life. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, but just like a verse that just wraps up it, or just emphasizes the point of like the busyness of life is Psalms 46:10. It's like, be still and know that I am God. Like it's just reminding us to like slow down and create time for those meaningful connections and like for others, because sometimes we just go and like we don't care about others. We don't care to check on others. We don't care what's happening in their life. It's about you and how can you get higher in the ladder or make more money, and then by the time you know, you're alone on the top.
Lonely.
No, seriously. And I want to be at the top with a bunch of people at the top, not just me at the top.
Yeah,
It's
celebrate
way
myself.
funner, way better, and teamwork.
What the heck, man? Your phone, yo.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm joking. But yeah, my goal and your goal is to reach out to 3 friends. And just check up on them. That's what I'm
I've had enough.
That's what I'm gonna do, and we should do. Reach out to 3 friends.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm gonna write that
I've
down.
done 2. I've done 2
Reach
this
out
week.
to
I need
3
one
friends.
more.
Send a voice note. How are
Need
you
one more.
doing?
Oh, actually, I have one.
How
more.
can I pray for you?
Yeah.
Simple.
That's it.
Reach out. I'm writing that
That's it.
down. Reach out to 3 friends.
Ask them how they're doing.
How are you doing?
Like really doing, because some people
Yes.
respond like fine.
How can
We don't
I
want that.
pray
We want like
for
actually
you?
how you really doing. Because sometimes I can say I'm fine. Oh my gosh, life is so busy. Work is so busy. But that's not really how you're doing. It's just life is busy.
I mean,
Work
you
is-
can ask. I think it's
But,
more
like,
so
just
being
the
intentional, asking more questions. If somebody's like,
Yes.
life is busy, okay, so what is it that you're doing that's busy?
Be intentional.
You know, that's the part. It's like asking, is being a good listener when it
Yes.
comes to friendship. Because
Be intentional.
somebody doesn't know how to articulate themselves in terms of expressing how they actually feel, but they'll use life as life is busy, I'm drained, you know, my head is hurting, or, you know, this and that. So it's just being intentional and listening well so you can ask good questions.
Amener.
Sorry, one last thing. One thing I noticed is like for listening well, I think I listen well. Sometimes I don't. But one thing I need to practice is, a friend done this with me where I'll say something and they're like, this is what you're saying, right?
Repeating, paraphrasing.
Yeah, it's like it just feels like they are actually listening to you when they're paraphrasing what you're talking about. So try it, guys, with your
Just
people.
be genuinely interested with people.
Yes.
That's it. That's the motive I have when I'm talking to church people. Like, let me not just run off and just go do my thing. Let me actually try to get to know this person. So be genuinely interested in people and watch things grow.
Yep.
So yeah,
Sounds like a good end to me.
same.
All right, guys.
Speaking about kindness, I just want to say that thank you for everyone for watching our content and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But some people weren't nice in the YouTube comments
It's okay. Some
when it
people
comes
are
to
not.
our what's his name, Marvin Sapp take. Yeah, I sat on that too, and I'm like, okay, I can see what you were saying, but I still stand on what we said though.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that was
I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
yeah.
We love you
No,
guys.
but I
either
also
way.
I should have said this in the beginning. I was like, do you guys just want to clarify anything?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand what people are saying in terms of his approach and like it being very not unbiblical.
Yes.
I think the part that I was trying to emphasize is like put aside the way that how he asked, but it's like, are you mad at the fact that how he asked or what he's asking for? Because if he's asking for $20 towards the budget for the the conference, is that a bad thing to ask for $20? And second of all, it's like the congregation. What kind of congregation is it? Is it people who are spiritually mature and are well off that they are able to afford that, or is it just people who just came in to learn about?
Yeah,
whatever?
I don't know
that. I don't know the context, but for me, it was more so this is going towards something that is positive for the kingdom. It was a conference for believers, right? And so I think oftentimes as Christians, we can sometimes push aside the fact that these things cost money. It's not cheap. But I understand the fact of like let people give what they want to give.
Yeah.
Don't put it on them to say, hey, you have to donate this $20. So I understand that aspect, but for me it was more so the giving part is like, are you mad because the way that he said it or what he's asking for? Yeah. So
Yeah. Someone's like, I was there. No, he wasn't. I was like, okay. So yeah. But I got some good perspectives, like in the DMs, like just talking to people.
yeah, I think it's important to have conversations like that because sometimes too you could have one perspective, but also to making sure that you're not just using your own lens, right? And having people see it from different parts of the different angles. So I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. So yeah.
Well,
All right then.
like, comment, subscribe, like the video so it can go into the algorithm. And we just appreciate everyone for tuning in. And we look forward to the stuff that we're going to bring you in the future. Okay?
Yeah. Pray for us.
Yes, pray for us and be nice to people. And reach out to 3 people, 3 friends, okay? All right?
All right.
KTJP family?
Well, that's all.
That's all. We're the
Folks.
world's greatest podcast. And we're out of here. Peace.